gorgeous, gorgeous day. Snowed this morning. It's going to snow a little bit more tonight. In the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I'm in Northern Virginia right now, back behind our house in the woods. And I just wanted to go for a walk and enjoy this incredible beauty that God's provided for today, which means that my mind got to wandering. And so you're going to get to be the beneficiary or the victim of my musings today. Hopefully it's helpful. Man, is that beautiful or what? Look at that. Holy cow. I love living where we live. So our buyers are incredibly frustrated. And that's not just us. That's across the entire country. Inventory is at a historic low. So December of 2020, across the country, 700,000 active listings, which might sound like a lot until you realize that December 2019 had about 450,000 more listings. So you can think about what that means for the inventory levels across the entire country, right? So that's the first thing. We got super low inventory. That's driving these dynamics in the market where the buyers are just sucking tailpipe, man. It's just really bad out there. And there's a lot of buyers, honestly, that are making a lot of really bad financial decisions because they're desperate. And there's so much emotion in the market right now, and they're just throwing money at the problem. And it's really tight. So I got thinking about, when are our buyer clients going to catch a break? When is it going to turn? And so that got me to thinking about shadow inventory as an indicator of when that might happen. All right, so first of all, shadow inventory, what is it? Shadow inventory are basically properties that are kind of like in the wings, not on the market yet, but they're on the way. And so there's a lot of, right, that's people who are painting their house and getting ready to sell. They're part of the shadow inventory. But there's also the distressed markets. There's also the institutional markets. There's a lot of shadow inventory sources. But right now, there's this kind of accumulation of potential inventory that's holding back because of the dynamics, both economic and pandemic and societal and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of got intentional shadow inventory, and then you got circumstantial shadow inventory. Intentional shadow inventory is people that are going to move on cycle, right? Average length of home ownership tenure in the country is 8.3 years. The longest you see is in some cities in Connecticut, and it's 12.3 years. That's average, right? I know there's plenty of people that live in their houses for 3 decades. Then you've got people who were going to move on cycle last year and decided to hold off because of the pandemic or whatever else is going on, right? So they're all, a large majority of them are still going to sell as soon as everything kind of lets loose here, and that's part of the vaccine and confidence in anyway, we can talk about that later. So you got the people who were on cycle and decided not to sell, but they're going to sell. So that's another part of this. Another part of the intentional shadow inventory, military PCS, corporate relocation, that's also shadow inventory. The PCS and the reloads that have been held back because of the circumstances and what's going on. So all of that's going to start releasing. People are going to be selling and moving and all that kind of stuff in 2021. So you're going to see an increase in inventory. Hang on a second. Let's just stop and look at that for a second. All right. Man, I love winter. So let's talk a little bit about the circumstantial shadow inventory and how that's going to help buyers. So sources of circumstantial shadow inventory are exactly what it sounds like. They don't want to necessarily sell, but they're in a circumstance where they kind of got to make a hard decision, right? So that's like landlords. Think about landlords, right? There's an unexpected source of shadow inventory. When you're in a position where you're having to pay your mortgage payment as a landlord, but your tenants are in a position where they can't pay rent, that puts you in a really tight spot, especially when you're operating on pretty thin margins. So I think we're going to see landlords coming to the table with inventory. There's certainly going to be some economically driven stuff where people just aren't able to afford their mortgage anymore, and they're going to be coming to inventory soon. You got the urban flight, people that are leaving cities because they don't want to be in densely populated areas. You got the workforce redistribution and just this whole paradigm shift that's happening in corporate workforce structure and organizational structure, where if you don't have to be in an office and you can work from anywhere, why ain't you on a beach? Right? I mean, so when people realize that they're going to be able to remain remote and remain distributed, that's going to bring some inventory to the market too. Distressed properties, right? So we're going to start seeing some more distressed properties. We have to see some more distressed properties. There's no way that we're not going to see it. We're at a 15-year low. 7.3% of all properties that were sold last month were distressed properties. That's down from the peak, which was 38% and change in 2011. What we're not going to see is we're not going to see buyers gain leverage over sellers because of a lot of different stuff, and that's a whole different conversation about how much equity is leveraged across the country in real estate, residential real estate, and all that stuff. So here's my counsel that I give to all my buyer clients. If you don't have to move and buy right now, think about staying put, think about renting, because there's going to be better selection coming up towards the end of the year, certainly into 2022. Markets are not going to adjust significantly as far as real estate rates. They're going to probably creep up 2 and just over 3% this year. But ultimately, if you get a 3.1% 30-year fixed mortgage, and you wait for the inventory to come to you so that you've got more leverage as a buyer, more opportunity as a buyer, and maybe you can pick up a distressed property and you get some motivated sellers who have to sell, that sounds a whole lot better than being one of 30 offers. Our last listing a couple of days ago, 30 offers started at list, right? And went 11% over, 0 contingencies. No financing contingency, no appraisal contingency, nada, stugats. It was incredible for my sellers. Brokenhearted for the 29 buyers who, literally were throwing everything at us to try to get their offer to be the one that got selected. Keep your powder dry, but think strategically, right? So this year, all the 60-pound head types are talking about a 6% appreciation across the country. So maybe it makes sense to get in if you can find that right property. There's always opportunities to buy, to sell, to invest if you're willing to look for it, and be smart about how you find them, right? And a lot of that, honestly, is not in the MLS. I was talking to real estate agents who are willing to go knock on doors and make phone calls and find people who aren't in the market yet, but are willing to go to the market. One of the things Lisa and I do is we vet real estate agents across the entire country for family, friends, and those who are referred to us. And that referral fee from finding that person and making that introduction, that entire referral fee is directed into nonprofits. We don't put any of it in our pocket. I'm going to start running some buyer seminars because this isn't about what I need. This is about where people need to be mentored and counseled to help people understand where to find leverage and to decide whether or not it's a good time for them to buy. It's a very personal thing. So I got it out of my head, and now I can just be here where God has planted me, enjoying his beauty. This is an incredible, let me show you a little kind of quick look around here. Right? Man. God is good. I love this place, baby. This is awesome. At least it's in front of the fire. She's like, Florida, we gotta go. But this is my sweet spot. This is my home. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Hey, would you do me a favor? Would you make a comment below and share this video so that we can help more people? It doesn't matter if you're in Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, or anywhere in the country. Just share this. The principles and the concepts work everywhere. And let's help some people. Let's just share this, get this information out, all right? Have a great rest of the snowy weekend, and I look forward to hearing from you. Peace.